The Krell Dominion vessel Silent Hunter drifted through the void at the edge of the Sol system, its advanced cloaking field bending light and radiation around its crystalline hull. Commander Vexthal stood on the observation deck, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display of the small blue planet. Earth, the humans called it. Such a simple name for what would soon become just another acquisition for the ever-expanding Dominion. Surveillance Cycle 97 complete, Commander, reported Science Officer McLaurin, her voice carrying the distinctive metallic resonance of the northern Krell provinces. Human military technology remains consistent with previous assessments. Vexthal gestured with his secondary limbs, manipulating the display to zoom in on a human naval vessel crossing an ocean. Primitive propulsion systems, chemical weapons, limited energy shielding. He clicked his mandibles in amusement. They still use water as a barrier for defense. The science officer scrolled through the latest data packets. Their space program shows minor advancements. They've established a small habitat on their moon and begun preliminary mining operations on Mars. Any indication of faster-than-light research? Vexthal asked, though he already knew the answer. None detected. Their theoretical physics still debates whether it's even possible. McLaurin paused, her head crest flattening slightly. Though I should note their quantum research has progressed faster than our models predicted. The commander dismissed this observation with a flick of his ceremonial sash. Irrelevant. Even with accelerated development, they're centuries from anything that could challenge Dominion supremacy. Complete the final assessment. As the science officer returned to her station, Vexthal indulged in a moment of contemplation. His career had spanned the subjugation of 17 worlds, but Earth would be his first Level 2 acquisition as commander. The prestige would guarantee him a position on the High Council upon his return. The holographic display shifted to a political map of Earth, highlighting the fragmented nature of human governance. 214 distinct political entities, Vexthal murmured. No unified defense protocol. No orbital weapons platforms. He drafted his recommendation to the Dominion Council with practiced efficiency. Earth presents minimal resistance potential. Standard subjugation protocols will suffice. Recommended force: 2 battle groups. 16 light minutes away, orbiting silently above Earth's northern hemisphere, a small satellite designated ODIST 117 experienced an unexpected power surge. Its enhanced sensor suite, designed to track space debris, momentarily activated at 300% normal capacity. For 3.7 seconds, its detection algorithms locked onto an anomaly at the edge of the solar system, a shadow against the stars that absorbed rather than reflected light. Deep within the Cheyenne Mountain complex, Dr. Maya Chen was reviewing atmospheric data when an alert flashed across her terminal. Her coffee cup halted halfway to her lips as she studied the incoming transmission. The satellite's brief sensor spike had captured something impossible, a structure of clearly artificial design, approximately 2 kilometers in length, with no launch record or flight path. "Get me General Harrison," she said to her assistant, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. Authorization code Omega 7 Delta. 3 minutes later, in a secure conference room 80 levels below the mountain's surface, Dr. Chen presented her findings to a panel of military and scientific leaders. "The object appears to utilize some form of cloaking technology," she explained, pointing to the distortion patterns in the sensor data. "It's been there for months, possibly years, watching us." General Harrison's weathered face remained impassive, but his knuckles whitened around his pen. "You're certain this isn't a glitch, or a Russian satellite?" "The quantum signature is unlike anything in our material science," Chen replied. "This isn't human technology." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Harrison nodded once. "Initiate Aurora Protocol. Level 1. Full information blackout." He turned to the others. "Ladies and gentlemen, everything changes today. Earth is no longer alone, and from this evidence, our visitors aren't here for friendly conversation." As the emergency meeting dispersed, Dr. Chen returned to her lab, her mind already racing through the technological implications. The Krell, confident in their superiority, never realized their brief sensor glitch had just changed the course of human history. 3 months after the detection of the alien vessel, the world's most powerful leaders gathered in an underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps. The chamber, shielded by 2 kilometers of solid rock and advanced electromagnetic barriers, represented the first truly global response in human history. "The evidence is conclusive," Dr. Chen stated, her presentation showing enhanced images of the alien ship. "We're dealing with a technologically superior species that has been observing Earth for years. Their vessel employs propulsion and cloaking systems well beyond our current capabilities." The Chinese premier leaned forward. "And you believe their intentions are hostile?" "Their behavior matches predatory surveillance patterns," General Harrison replied. "They're assessing our defenses and vulnerabilities. We must assume their intentions are conquest, not contact." The room erupted into multiple conversations until the Secretary General rapped her knuckle against the table. "We need unanimous consensus. The Aurora Protocol calls for complete military integration and technological sharing. Centuries of national secrecy and competitive advantage must be set aside." Remarkably, the vote took less than 20 minutes. Faced with extinction-level threat, human divisions seemed suddenly trivial. Within weeks, the world transformed behind a carefully maintained facade of normalcy. In public, governments continued their usual diplomatic posturing. In secret, military command structures merged into a unified Earth Defense Force. Scientists who had once competed for funding now collaborated across borders, their laboratories relocated to hardened underground facilities. The Russian president surrendered the secrets of their most advanced plasma containment systems. The American delegation shared breakthrough research in quantum computing. Chinese engineers brought revolutionary manufacturing techniques that could fabricate metamaterials at previously impossible scales. Beneath the lunar surface, the modest scientific outpost known publicly as Artemis Base expanded into a vast complex. Automated mining operations extracted helium-3 and rare minerals, feeding them into fabrication facilities that operated at maximum capacity. The civilian personnel were quietly replaced with military engineers, each sworn to absolute secrecy. Admiral James Reeves stood before the skeletal frame of humanity's first true warship in the largest lunar construction bay. The vessel, officially designated UES Defiance, bore little resemblance to the chemical rockets that had carried humans into space for the past century. Its hull incorporated layers of metamaterials designed to absorb rather than reflect energy. Its propulsion system utilized principles of quantum field manipulation that effectively reduced the ship's mass to near zero. "How functional is it?" Reeves asked the chief engineer, Dr. Hiroki Tanaka. Tanaka gestured to the exposed power core. "The gravitic engines are operational. Defensive systems at 60% capacity. The phase shift generators still experience stability issues beyond 30 seconds. And weapons. The kinetic lance system works in simulations. We need another month for live fire testing." Reeves gazed at the vessel, aware that 2 identical ships were under construction in adjacent bays. "The Intelligence Division estimates we have less than 12 weeks before the alien fleet arrives." Tanaka's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to work faster. The modifications to the lunar regolith harvesters have tripled our material processing capacity. I've got teams working in 4-hour shifts around the clock." In orbit around Mars, another critical component of Earth's defense plan took shape. Operation Hornet's Nest converted the automated mining platforms in the asteroid belt into disguised weapons platforms. Engineers retrofitted each with miniaturized versions of the technology being installed on Earth's warships. Meanwhile, on Earth, military personnel from dozens of nations trained together in vast underground facilities. Virtual reality systems, programmed with every scrap of data gleaned from the alien observers, simulated combat against technically superior forces. Special forces units from former enemy nations learned to operate as seamless teams. In her private office beneath Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Chen reviewed the latest simulation results. The projected casualty rates remained catastrophically high, but for the first time, the model showed a narrow path to victory. She transmitted the findings to the Unified Command with a single note attached. "We can win this, but only if they underestimate us as completely as we expect." The Krell invasion fleet materialized in Earth orbit on a Tuesday morning. 20 massive warships appeared simultaneously above major population centers: New York, Beijing, Moscow, London, Tokyo, New Delhi, Sao Paulo. Each vessel dwarfed anything humans had publicly launched into space, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent metal that shifted colors as they moved through different light angles. On the bridge of the flagship Inevitable Dominance, Commander Vex Thal observed the blue planet with satisfaction. "Begin the standard intimidation protocol," he ordered. Visual manifestation over population centers, followed by the surrender broadcast. The Krell ships activated their atmospheric projection systems, creating kilometer-wide holograms of the Dominion insignia in the skies above Earth's cities. Civilians pointed upward in shock as the alien symbols shimmered against the morning sky, followed by the sudden interruption of all electronic communications. Every screen on Earth, from smartphones to billboards, displayed the same message in the local language: "Your world now belongs to the Krell Dominion. Surrender your military forces and prepare for integration. Resistance will result in exemplary punishment." The panic that followed was entirely genuine, though not for the reasons the Krell assumed. Across the globe, civilians enacted emergency evacuation protocols that had been quietly rehearsed for months. Government officials made appropriately fearful public statements while secretly relocating to hardened command centers. In the United Earth Defense Headquarters beneath Geneva, General Sofia Alvarez watched the alien vessels through real-time satellite feeds. The command center hummed with controlled activity, personnel moving with practiced efficiency, despite the historical significance of the moment. Humanity's first official contact with an alien species was unfolding exactly as they had predicted, with threats rather than greetings. "All defense systems online," reported Colonel Chang from the tactical station. "Orbital platforms in passive scanning mode, undetected by Krell sensors." Alvarez nodded. "Initiate polite stalling protocol." Earth's official response was transmitted on all frequencies. "This is the United Nations Secretary General. Your arrival is unexpected, and your claims require careful consideration. We request 48 hours to consult with all our leaders and prepare our people for this transition." On the Krell flagship, the communications officer relayed the message to Commander Vex Thal. The Primitives request time to organize their surrender. The commander flicked his ceremonial sash in amusement. "Granted. 48 hours will make no difference." He turned to his executive officer. "Maintain combat readiness, but allow the crew rotation for recreational periods. The humans pose no threat." As civilian evacuations accelerated under the guise of precautionary measures, Earth's military moved into the final phase of preparation. Stealth submarines positioned quantum-linked communication nodes at strategic points across the planet's oceans. High-altitude aircraft released clouds of microscopic sensor drones that drifted undetected through the upper atmosphere, mapping the Krell vessels in unprecedented detail. Admiral Elena Torres stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching as final system checks were completed. Through the viewport, she could see the UES Defiance and UES Humanity's resolve in formation. Humanity's first and only deep space warships, hidden in the shadow of the moon, invisible to Krell detection systems. "All systems nominal," reported Captain Rodriguez. "Phase shift generators stabilized at 97%. Kinetic lance systems charged and ready." Torres studied the tactical display showing the Krell vessels in orbit. For months, they had analyzed every scrap of intelligence on Krell technology, searching for weaknesses. The alien ships were powerful, but their confidence had made them predictable. They expected humanity to behave like every other species they had conquered, to be paralyzed by fear and awe. Send the final coded message to command. Torres ordered. Operation First Strike commencing in 6 hours. As the countdown began, she addressed the combined crews of Earth's small but deadly fleet. They came expecting surrender. In 24 hours, the Krell will learn why humans have survived every extinction-level threat our planet has ever presented. We don't surrender. We adapt. We overcome. We fight. 6 hours before Earth's deadline to respond, the Krell detection systems registered 3 small objects emerging from behind the moon. The tactical officer on the inevitable dominance alerted Commander Vexthal with minimal concern. Human vessels approaching, Commander. Configuration unknown, but mass readings suggest minimal threat capacity. Vexthal studied the holographic display with mild curiosity. Primitive diplomatic vessels, most likely. Their leaders coming to negotiate terms of surrender in person. He gestured dismissively. Standard protocol. Allow them to approach but maintain defensive screens. The tactical officer hesitated. Sir, their approach vector is unusual. They're moving faster than our intelligence suggested human propulsion could achieve. Irrelevant. Vexthal replied. Our battle cruisers outmass them by factors of 10. Prepare the reception bay for their representatives. On the bridge of the UES Retribution, Admiral Torres watched the tactical display as they closed with the Krell formation. The enemy vessels hung in geosynchronous positions, their weapons systems idle, their detection grids focused outward rather than scanning for threats within the solar system. All ships, final status check, Torres commanded. Defiance ready, phase shift generators at capacity. Humanity's resolve ready, kinetic lance systems charge. Retribution ready, quantum torpedoes armed and targeting systems locked. Torres took a deep breath, acutely aware of the historical weight of the moment. Humanity's survival would depend on the next few minutes. Synchronize combat systems and prepare for simultaneous engagement. Remember your training. They expect us to behave like their previous conquests. Let's show them why Earth is different. The human ships accelerated suddenly, their hulls shimmering as experimental field generators came online. The Krell sensors registered the energy spike, but categorized it incorrectly as communications equipment powering up. When the human vessels suddenly split formation and targeted 3 separate Krell ships, the aliens finally recognized the threat. Seconds too late. The UES Defiance activated its phase shift technology, its hull partially transitioning between dimensional states. Krell sensors lost lock as the human ship appeared to fade from normal spacetime. When the Krell gunners fired plasma weapons in response, their energy blasts passed harmlessly through the partially phased vessel. The UES Humanity's Resolve deployed its primary weapon, a gravitational lance that created a focused distortion in spacetime directly ahead of the ship. The beam struck a Krell cruiser amidships, the localized gravitational shear tearing through alien alloys as though they were paper. Admiral Torres, aboard the Retribution, watched as her tactical officer deployed their quantum-entangled torpedoes. Unlike conventional weapons that had to physically travel to their targets, these warheads utilized paired quantum particles. One half remained in the launch tube. The other half instantaneously materialized inside the targeted Krell vessel, bypassing shields entirely. On the Krell flagship, alarms blared as Commander Vexthal watched in disbelief. 3 Krell warships were already crippled, their systems failing as human weapons struck with impossible precision. Impossible, he roared. How can primitives possess such technology? Full combat alert. All vessels engage those human ships. The remaining Krell vessels opened fire, filling space with energy weapons and graviton missiles. But the human ships moved with unexpected agility, their trajectories seemingly random yet perfectly coordinated. Each evasive maneuver placed them in optimal position for their next attack run. In Geneva, General Alvarez watched the battle unfold through quantum-linked communications. Phase 2, she ordered. Activate the orbital platforms. Across Earth orbit, what the Krell had dismissed as communication satellites suddenly powered up, revealing themselves as weapons platforms. Dozens of concentrated particle beams struck the Krell vessels from multiple angles, disrupting their shield harmonics. 17 minutes after engagement began, 7 Krell warships were destroyed or disabled. The survivors, including Commander Vexthal's flagship, broke formation in disarray. "Retreat," Vexthal ordered, his voice cracking with humiliation. "Jump to emergency coordinates immediately." As the remaining Krell ships vanished into faster-than-light transit, Admiral Torres finally allowed herself a moment of relief. Earth had won the first battle, but the war had only just begun. "Secure from combat stations," she ordered, "and prepare damage reports. The Krell will return, and next time, they won't underestimate us." The Grand Chamber of the Krell High Council had not witnessed defeat in 7 centuries. Now, the curved walls of polished obsidian reflected the grim faces of the Dominion's highest leaders as they viewed the battle recordings from Earth. Supreme Commander Erexval stood before the council, his ceremonial armor dulled in the ritual of disgrace. "The humans employed technologies we believe beyond their capabilities. Our intelligence assessment was flawed." Flawed. Elder Zinvor's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. 3 of our battle cruisers destroyed, 4 more crippled by a species we classified as primitive. This goes beyond flawed, Commander. The holographic display at the center of the chamber replayed the battle from multiple angles. The council members watched in stunned silence as the human vessels executed maneuvers that defied conventional physics, their weapons bypassing Krell defenses that had proven impenetrable against countless other species. Intelligence Director Krell Thorne stepped forward, her scales flushed with the blue coloration of extreme stress. "We have conducted a comprehensive review of our surveillance data. It appears the humans detected our observer ships 3 months ago. They used that time to prepare specifically for our arrival." "Impossible," another council member objected. "Our cloaking technology was briefly compromised during a solar flare event." The intelligence director interrupted. "For 3.7 seconds, one of our vessels became partially visible to enhance sensors. The humans apparently captured this data and correctly interpreted it as evidence of our presence." Supreme Commander Erexval manipulated the holographic controls, focusing on one of the human ships as it phased partially out of normal spacetime. "Our scientists are struggling to explain how they achieved this technology. The energy requirements alone should be beyond their capabilities. What matters now is our response," Elder Zinvor stated. "The humans have revealed their hand too early. They have 3 vessels. We have thousands. The Dominion has never tolerated resistance." Erexval nodded grimly. "I have already ordered the preparation of the 7th Battle Fleet. 500 ships, including 20 dreadnoughts. Earth will be reduced to molten slag." On Earth, celebrations of the first victory were tempered by the knowledge that they had won only the opening round of a much larger war. In the command center beneath Geneva, the United Earth Defense Council convened to assess their position. The phase shift technology exceeded expectations, Dr. Chen reported. The Defiance maintained dimensional transition for 73 seconds, well beyond our simulated maximum. Admiral Torres, attending via secure quantum link from the Retribution, added her tactical assessment. The Krell were completely unprepared for our approach. Their weapons targeted where our ships appeared to be, not accounting for our actual position. But we can't count on surprise next time. General Alvarez studied the casualty reports with a grim expression. "We've sustained damage to all 3 vessels. Defiance's starboard engines are offline. Humanity's Resolve lost 30% of its sensor array. Retribution's hull integrity is compromised in sections 4 through 7. She looked up at the assembled leaders. "Repairs will take weeks, and the Krell will return much sooner. Then we accelerate production," the Chinese premier stated firmly. "How many more ships can we bring online within the next month?" The production director consulted his data. The lunar shipyards have 4 vessels at 90% completion. With round-the-clock work, We might have them operational in 3 weeks. Not enough, Admiral Torres said. Intel suggests the next Krell fleet will number in the hundreds. Dr. Chen had been unusually quiet, studying data on her tablet. Now she looked up, her expression intense. We need to think asymmetrically. The Krell expect us to build more ships, to fight them symmetrically. But our advantage isn't in numbers, it's in innovation. She tapped her screen, projecting a complex schematic onto the main display. I've been analyzing the data from the asteroid belt operation. What if we weaponize the entire solar system? As the council leaned forward to examine her proposal, the room fell silent. The plan was audacious, possibly suicidal, but it might be humanity's only chance. The upcoming battle of the asteroid belt would either secure Earth's future or end human civilization forever. The Krell's 7th Battle Fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system, a formation so vast it resembled a small constellation. Supreme Commander Erex Val stood on the command deck of the dreadnought Eternal Dominance, surveying the holographic display of the human solar system. Defensive formations detected in Earth orbit, reported the tactical officer. 7 vessels of similar configuration to those we encountered previously. Erex Val's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. 7 against 500. The humans are either brave or foolish. He gestured to the communications officer. No terms, no ultimatums this time. Advance at combat speed and prepare planetary bombardment protocols. The massive Krell fleet accelerated toward the inner solar system, their formation splitting into 3 attack wings designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses from multiple vectors. Long-range sensors detected unusual energy signatures throughout the asteroid belt, but the Krell analysts categorized them as mining operations or primitive early warning systems. This was their first critical mistake. Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of the newly repaired UES Retribution, watching the tactical display as the Krell fleet approached. Beside her, Dr. Chen monitored a separate console showing hundreds of small green dots scattered throughout the asteroid belt. All mining charges in position, Chen reported. Gravitational calculations finalized and locked. Torres nodded. All ships, maintain position. Let them come to us. Her calm voice belied the tension throughout the bridge. Earth's 7 warships, including 4 newly commissioned vessels, held formation near Mars, apparently preparing for a last stand. The Krell interpreted this as desperation. Their sensors showed the human ships were outnumbered nearly 70-1. Victory was a mathematical certainty. When the lead elements of the Krell fleet entered the asteroid belt, Admiral Torres gave the order that initiated Operation Hornet's Nest. Execute primary sequence. All units engage. Throughout the asteroid belt, thousands of disguised mining charges detonated in a precisely calculated sequence. The explosions themselves caused minimal damage, but they created a cascading wave of debris. Asteroid fragments ranging from dust-sized particles to massive rocks hundreds of meters across, all accelerated to tremendous velocities directly toward the Krell formation. The Krell fleet's forward screens flared as they intercepted the initial wave of debris, but the assault continued relentlessly. Smaller ships began taking damage as their shields overloaded from the constant impacts. Evasive maneuvers, Erex Val ordered, realizing too late the trap they had entered. Clear the asteroid field immediately. As the Krell ships maneuvered to avoid the lethal debris storm, the second phase of Earth's trap was sprung. What the aliens had dismissed as mining operations were actually disguised weapon platforms. 300 automated drone ships equipped with the same phase shift technology that had proven so effective in the first engagement. The drone ships activated simultaneously, emerging from concealment throughout the asteroid field. Unlike conventional weapons platforms, they didn't target the largest Krell vessels. Instead, following their programmed logic, they focused fire on the Krell fleet's sensor and communication nodes, the smaller, more vulnerable ships that coordinated the alien formation. From her position near Mars, Admiral Torres watched as chaos spread through the Krell ranks. Without central coordination, their superior numbers became a liability as ships maneuvered blindly, some colliding with each other or with asteroid fragments. "Launch the fleet," Torres ordered. Earth's 7 warships accelerated toward the disorganized Krell forces, using the asteroid field to mask their approach. Unlike the first battle, where surprise had given humans a decisive advantage, this engagement evolved into a chaotic, 3-dimensional melee. The human vessels, smaller and more agile, darted between asteroid fragments that their navigational systems had precisely mapped in advance. The Krell ships, designed for formation warfare in open space, found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to materialize from nowhere, strike with devastating precision, then disappear back into the debris field. On the Eternal Dominance, Supreme Commander Irexpal watched in growing horror as his fleet's formation disintegrated. "They've weaponized the entire asteroid belt against us," he realized aloud. "Retreat to reformation point and re-establish command links." But the retreat order couldn't reach many of his ships through the communications blackout created by the human attack. The Battle of the Asteroid Belt had just begun, and already the mighty Krell fleet was fighting for survival. The Battle of the Asteroid Belt raged for 27 hours. By the time the last Krell cruiser retreated into faster-than-light transit, the once mighty 7th Battle Fleet had been reduced to less than half its original strength. 212 Krell vessels had been destroyed or disabled, their wreckage joining the natural debris of the asteroid field. Earth's victory came at significant cost. 3 of their 7 warships had been destroyed, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice. The remaining vessels limped back toward the inner system, hulls scorched and systems failing. The automated drone network had been nearly wiped out, leaving large sections of the asteroid belt undefended. In the command center beneath Geneva, the mood was somber despite the victory. General Alvarez studied the casualty reports with a heavy heart. 3 ships lost, 1,714 personnel confirmed dead. She looked up at the assembled Earth Defense Council. "We've bloodied their nose again, but at tremendous cost." Admiral Torres, attending via quantum link from the damaged bridge of the Retribution, nodded grimly. "The Krell will return, and soon. Their entire empire is built on the myth of invincibility. They cannot allow a primitive species to challenge that narrative." The intelligence officer, Commander Lena Ortega, had been uncharacteristically quiet during the briefing. Now she stepped forward. "We may have an opportunity." She transferred a data packet to the main display. During the battle, the UES Humanity's Resolve managed to download significant portions of a damaged Krell cruiser's navigational database before the vessel self-destructed. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Commander Ortega continued, "We've decrypted the coordinates of several key Krell installations, including their primary fleet staging area, and," she paused, "the location of the Krell throne world itself." The War Council erupted in debate. Admiral Reeves, recently promoted after the death of his predecessor, advocated caution. "We should consolidate our defenses. The next Krell fleet will be even larger." General Alvarez disagreed. "Conventional military wisdom doesn't apply here. We're outmatched in numbers and raw firepower. Our only advantage is that we keep doing what they think impossible." Dr. Chen studied the navigational data, her mind calculating possibilities. "The Krell expect us to remain defensive, protecting Earth. Their military doctrine is rigid. They'll gather an overwhelming force before attacking again." She looked up, her expression intense. "What if we struck at their center of power while their fleets are still scattered?" The audacity of the proposal silenced the room. President Lewis, who had remained largely quiet during the technical discussions, finally spoke. "What exactly are you suggesting, Doctor?" "A strike mission," Chen replied. "A small, fast task force, using the Krell's own navigational data to jump directly to their throne world. Not to destroy it. We lack the firepower for that, but to demonstrate that their core worlds are no longer beyond our reach." Torres nodded slowly. "Psychological warfare. The Krell have never faced a threat to their homeworld. The shock value alone might force them to reconsider this conflict. The debate lasted hours, with compelling arguments raised on both sides. Eventually, President Lewis made the decision. Prepare a strike force. 3 ships, our fastest and most advanced. The bulk of our fleet will remain to defend Earth. Construction crews at the lunar shipyards worked around the clock to ready the newly commissioned UES Audacity for its historic mission. As the flagship of the strike force, it incorporated all the technological advancements developed during the recent battles, with enhanced phase shift generators and improved quantum targeting systems. Captain Hikaru Jung stood on the bridge of the Audacity, reviewing the mission parameters one final time. The risk was enormous. A direct jump into the heart of enemy territory, with no possibility of rescue if things went wrong. The survival of their species might depend on this single daring mission. "All systems go, Captain," reported his executive officer. "Phase shift generators at optimal capacity. Quantum torpedoes armed and ready." Zhang nodded, his expression resolute. "Signal the task force. Prepare for synchronized jump on my mark." He activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. In 5 minutes, we will attempt something no human vessel has done before, a direct faster-than-light jump to the Krell homeworld. Our mission is not destruction, but demonstration. We will show them that Earth is not defenseless, that humanity cannot be conquered through conventional means." He paused, looking at the determined faces of his bridge crew. They thought their core worlds were safe. "It's time to change that calculation. For Earth." The response echoed throughout the ship. For Earth. The Krell homeworld of Dominax had never known fear. For millennia, its crystalline spires had reached toward the stars untroubled by thoughts of invasion or attack. The planet's orbital defense grid was considered impenetrable, its location a closely guarded secret, its citizens secure in the knowledge that no enemy could ever threaten their sacred soil. That certainty shattered the moment 3 human warships materialized directly above the Imperial Palace. Emperor Krelvos had ruled for 3 centuries, overseeing the conquest of 17 star systems. Now he stood in his private observatory, watching with disbelief as alien vessels hovered over his capital. His elite guards had rushed him to the supposedly impregnable sanctuary deep beneath the palace, but he had refused to cower. "How is this possible?" he demanded of Supreme Commander Erexval, who knelt in ritual submission. "You assured me no primitive species could penetrate our defenses. The humans have demonstrated capabilities beyond our understanding," Erexval replied, his voice heavy with shame. "They somehow decoded our navigational encryption and executed a precision jump directly into our inner defense perimeter." On the bridge of the UES Audacity, Captain Zhang watched as Krell defense platforms oriented toward his small task force. The mission parameters were clear. This was not an attack, but a demonstration of capability. His weapons officer had targeting solutions for the palace's shield generators, the planetary defense grid's primary nodes, and the Imperial Fleet's command center. "Open a channel," Zhang ordered. "All frequencies, all languages in the Krell database." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Zhang straightened in his command chair. "This is Captain Hikaru Zhang of the United Earth ship Audacity. We address the Krell Emperor and High Command. Your conquest of Earth has failed. Your fleets have been decimated. And now, as you can see, your homeworld is within our reach." He paused, letting the implications sink in. "We could destroy your world as you threatened to destroy ours. Instead, we offer terms. The choice between peace and annihilation is yours. You have 1 hour to respond." The message echoed through the Krell capital, causing panic among civilians who had never contemplated defeat. In the Imperial Council chamber, heated debates erupted as military commanders argued for immediate counterattack, while diplomatic advisors urged caution. Emperor Krelvos silenced them with a gesture. Despite his rage, the ancient ruler possessed the wisdom that had sustained his empire for centuries. These humans could have opened fire immediately. Instead, they offer terms. He turned to his advisors. What do we know of their civilization? The intelligence director stepped forward hesitantly. Our analysis suggests they value cooperation, Your Eminence. Unlike our other conquests, their world united against us rather than fracturing. They appear to prioritize innovation over tradition, adaptation over stability. The Emperor contemplated this, arranged communication with their leader. 2 weeks later, representatives from Earth met with the Krell delegation on the neutral ground of Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. The peace conference was unprecedented, the first time in recorded history that the Krell Empire had negotiated rather than dictated terms. Admiral Torres represented Earth's military, while Dr. Chen led the scientific contingent. The terms they presented were straightforward. Earth and all human colonies would remain sovereign and uncontested. The Krell would withdraw from any planned conquests in the sector. A demilitarized zone would be established between their territories. There is one more condition, said Dr. Chen, facing the Krell diplomats. All worlds currently under Krell occupation will be given the opportunity to vote for independence. The Krell negotiator hissed in outrage. The Dominion has ruled these worlds for centuries. They belong to us by right of conquest. Chen's expression remained calm but resolute. That is precisely the thinking that brought us to war. The galaxy is changing. Join us in building something better than conquest, or remain isolated while the rest of us move forward together. In the years that followed, the former Krell Empire transformed. Many subjugated worlds chose independence, while others formed a federation of planets with equal representation. Earth's technology spread throughout the galaxy, not as weapons, but as tools for rebuilding and connection. The UEA's Audacity, which had led the daring strike to the Krell homeworld, was recommissioned as a scientific vessel, its weapons replaced with advanced sensors and research laboratories. Its new mission: exploration beyond the known regions of space. On its bridge, Captain Zhang studied the star map showing the vast, uncharted regions ahead. The Krell thought they were safe because they were powerful. He reflected to his diverse crew of humans and former Krell subjects. We discovered something greater. When threatened, we didn't just build better warships. We built a better future. As the ship engaged its engines, disappearing in a flash of light to carry humanity's spirit of discovery to the stars, the galaxy had learned what the Krell discovered too late. Never underestimate a species that has spent its entire history overcoming impossible odds. For when the aliens thought they were safe, that's when they met Earth's warships.